Hi friends, I'm so happy for you that you are part of this process. I'm so glad that you stuck it out. It's now the fourth and the final module of these 4 modules about emotional recovery after cardiac surgery. And I know that cardiac surgery is something that's really tough. I mean, I've been there and you are there, and it takes its toll on us, physically, emotionally, even spiritually and mentally. In so many ways we are being challenged, but you've decided to give yourself the best possible chance to go through this process in an emotional, healthy and effective way. And this, because of that, I trust you will be reaping the benefits in your own physical life and your relational life in so many other ways. So may you really be blessed in so many ways because of that. Just think about this. What if this cardiac surgery, this cardiac procedure that you had happened so that you can just stop for a while and can rethink and reset your life, and you can see the future in a total different light because of what you went through, and you can start becoming far more intentional and active and proactive in living that new life that you see for yourself, and really experience levels of happiness that you've never experienced before because of this. That you will experience not only physical healing but emotional healing and relational healing, and that you will that your senses, also your inner senses, will be open to wonderful emotions like gratefulness and peace and happiness and joy and enjoyment and fun and adventure, and also courage and being powerful and being internally strong like you've never been before. I think all of that is possible if we are willing to embrace the fullness of life, because we are meant to have life in abundance, not life in scarcity. And when something like this happens to us, we can quickly tell ourselves, listen, I had a big setback now, and let me just cope and survive. But friends, we have said right from the beginning, we are not survivors. We are more than that. Survivors try to avoid pain and try to run away from threat, where we are thrivers. We are overcomers. We are warriors, reaching out to what life still has to offer to us. And today's session is about seeing the future, opening up yourself to see the future as the future can be. So it is actually also opening up yourself to get from here where you are, probably still in the recovery process where you have lots of challenges, where you don't feel like you used to, but you're on your way. You're on a journey towards recovery. You're climbing that mountain. You're allowing others to reach out to you, and you reach out to others, and you pull a few up. That's part of this process with you, and then you allow yourself to be pulled towards the top of this journey process. So may this last part also help you in that. I remember when I was in ICU, intensive care unit, the cardiac intensive care unit, they opened up the curtains, and I could see the mountain, and suddenly I was so aware that I cannot ride my mountain bike on those mountains right now, and I will not be able to ride my bicycle for quite a while. But I started seeing the future, myself being on my bike. I actually started seeing a little single track that I will go and ride with my bicycle within the next few weeks. It really became so real, and I became so hopeful to see that. It wasn't, of course, not a very difficult single track, but I saw myself riding that. I thought maybe it will take me 6 to 8 weeks before I will be able to recover enough to get there. And I started seeing myself where I will actually park my car and take my bicycle out of the car and get on it, and how it will feel and what I will see. To cut a long story short, within 6.5 weeks, 6 to 6.5 weeks, I was on my bike on that exact trail. And it felt like deja vu. It felt like I've been here before. I've done this before. I smelled the fresh air. It was, on a farm. I saw the vineyards, and I was just so grateful. But if it wasn't for myself allowing myself to go towards that end result in my mind, it would have been far more difficult. I remember another time I was given some exercises by a kineticist, and I had to lie on my back and do this movement. I have to lift my arms in this movement all the way over my head to the top, and I really couldn't do it. I came, until here, and I just couldn't lift my arms much further than that. And what I did is I then started to visualize myself doing this exercise over and over for about 10 times. Without moving any parts of my body, I just saw myself doing this exercise. And then after a while, I started doing the exercise, and I was so surprised how quickly I could start completing this exercise. There's of course another way that you can actually also see how this happens. If you just put your thumb like this and you turn around, you see how far you can go all the way to the back. And just mark it, and then take your other thumb and you do the same thing. And then you stop and you visualize yourself going much further. In other words, rotating much further. Just imagine yourself doing that, visualize that, see that, feel that, and then do that. You will see that you will be able to go much further. It's because in your mind you've opened up neural pathways, and the future comes closer. And this is actually what I would like to put in your hands today, that you will be able to see the future. Some people call that the quantum leap, to see the future and allow the future to come to you. There's a saying that if your vision is clear, the universe conspires to make it true. Some people would say, no, it's not the universe, it's God. Others will say it's the source power that will just conspire to make it true. Whatever your belief system is, when we see the future clearly, somehow the future seems closer, and our minds and our lives move into that direction, and we actually walk into that future right now. And but you have to be willing to see the future. Often we don't want to see the future. We want to sulk, and we want to pity ourselves and stay where we are, instead of allowing ourselves to look forward. I know this is tough. You have some real challenges right now, I suppose, that's making it difficult for you to see a better, beautiful future. But in our first session, we looked at this little picture, and we said, there's a stimulus and there's a response. And I can choose my responses. We are responsible. We are able to choose our responses. If we don't do that, we move directly from stimulus to response, and there's no choice, and we just become victims of our circumstances, of events happening to us like you went through. But if we can just pause to ponder, pause just to rethink our choices, we can make so much better choices and see what those responses, those better responses, will take us towards. And this is part of that, to proactively take full responsibility for your life and be an overcomer in this situation. In our second session, we spoke about the power of beliefs, that whether you think something is good or bad, it will be like that. Nothing is either good or bad. Shakespeare said in Hamlet, but thinking makes it so. So if you can see life differently, life will be different. Life is always an illusion of your perspective. So if your perspective isn't good, you will see life as not good. But if your perspective is right, life can be so much better. Somebody said, I think it was Einstein perhaps, said, without perspective, life will be limitless. But because of our perspective, life is limited in terms of the perspective that you have on life. So just to open up ourselves to new beliefs, new ways of thinking, new ways of looking at life, welcoming new possibilities, new opportunities in life, and say yes to it, not only with our minds, but also with our whole being, emotionally, and with our whole human system. Just say yes to the new possibilities that life can bring to you, in spite of the uncertainties that you currently face. So I also introduced you to the Arab method, how to deal with emotions, that we can reset our emotions by being aware, and then also to reflect on our emotions, and the thinking behind that, and how we actually, what our mindset is that actually causes that kind of emotions or reactions. And we can just then replace that thinking and those emotions and those actions with better thinking and better emotions and better actions. Our lives can be so much different. And then to internalize those things in our lives, to really feel it. So if you decided to go from fear to faith, feel the faith, feel it, internalize it. Tell yourself, I am not a person of fear. I have faith in my future. I have faith in what life can offer. I have faith that I will get better. And I take this into my life and I internalize this. I am going to believe in the better future, what the future will bring. And often, what we expect, what we believe is what we get. And then in the fifth place, just practice it. Put it into practice every day. Catch yourself in the moment and be aware, reflect, replace, internalize, and keep on practicing. That's how we change our internal state, and your internal state will start determining your external state. That's living life from the inside out. And I hope that by now you start getting it, that I can either live life from the outside in, I can either experience internally what my external environment dictates, or I can start to dictate my external environment because of my internal environment. I reset this in a healthy way, and then I live from here to the external world. And may that be far more the kind of life that you live. Less materialistic, less from the material world to your inner world, but far more from the inner world to the external world that will transform life around you. So I want to introduce you to a change process very quickly, a change theory. And there are so many theories, but you are in a process of change, and you can either just passively be the victim of the change that you're going through, or you can actively start to engage with this process, and you can start being the architect of where you can go. So often it's because of our minds and also our hearts, our emotional hearts, and our will that we don't go to the better normal that we can have. And according to him, or to Sharma, he said there are three voices, very, very prominent voices in us. The first voice is the voice of judgment, that quickly want to say, this is not possible, I've tried that, I'm not that kind of person that do this kind of stuff, or whatever. It's your voice of judgment that limits your ability to see life as it is. You see life through your own very tainted glasses, instead of seeing life as it can be. And then also the voice of cynicism, where you're actually very skeptic and negative about what life can bring, and you criticize anything that seems hopeful and become very pessimistic. And then the third voice is the voice of fear, that you are actually afraid, saying yes to what life can offer you because you are afraid of perhaps being disappointed, or once bitten, twice shy, fear of failure, or whatever those fears are. Often those voices can keep you back, and I think the solution to that is to admit that it's there, and then to address it, and to speak to yourself and look at your inner narrative, your inner conversations that you have, and turn it into positive, affirming conversations where you celebrate successes, where you are grateful about the progress that you have made, and grateful about every little help that you can get. But then Otto Sharma said, if you can just look at that picture again, he says, before we can go through that curve, there's the eye of the needle, and the eye of the needle is where the camel must go through. The camel cannot go through with its luggage and all the baggage. You have to leave something behind. So in order to say yes to this new normal, the new life that you want to have, you have to let go of your old voices of judgment and fear and cynicism and those old habits that kept you back, and say, listen, those things will not work here anymore. I have to change my life to have more of life. And I'm saying yes to that. I cannot eat like I used to, and I cannot, allow myself the things that were bad for me as I did in the past. And I don't need those old coping mechanisms where I had to fight my way or force my way. There's a new way to be in flow of life and to embrace other people and to be a loving person and a grateful person. I want to say yes to these things, and therefore I cannot take my old grumpiness or my old forcefulness or negativity with myself anymore. I want to welcome a new way of life, and the old way of life and new way of life cannot just go together. So there are some stuff that you need to let go. Some of the good things you must definitely take with you, but through the eye of the needle, you can take the good stuff if you want to see the best what life has to offer to you. So as we go through this eye of the needle, we will start experiencing prototypes of how life can be. And as you will recover, you will experience better health, more energy, more joy, and slowly but certainly the prototype of how life can be, the example, the new model will start to become more and more evident. And you say yes to that more and more. And the more and more you will go through that eye of the needle. And eventually you will arrive to the point where you can say, wow, what a transformation process I've been through. But you have to be intentional about this process. So yeah, a lot of stuff that I've shared with you right now. I'm just wanting to encourage you to say yes to the life that is being offered to you, that you can say yes to in your life. So recently I had to coach with a person, and the person went through a very tough process where because of the economy and because of lots of challenges and instabilities in his life, life was just very uncertain to him. And he said, I need you to coach me through this process. I need to change my life. I need a change in my life. I need life to treat me better. And so what we did, I asked him, so what is your positive intent? And we went through a process to redesign what he really wants. And again, what I said, when we are clear about what we want, the universe conspires. When we are clear about what we want, life just conspires. Things just strangely start to go inside, and you will be surprised about what happened. So we did this process, and this person, within 2 hours, he came back to me and said, listen, I just want to tell you, I was so amazed because within 2 hours I had some phone calls, and I didn't expect this. This almost sounds like, what is it? Is it magic or what is it? No, it's not magic. It's just opening up yourself to what life can offer. And often it doesn't happen that quickly, but if you can allow yourself to see it, you step into it, and you start seeing things that you can do to move closer to your future, and the future starts happening to you because your mind starts to change. Your brain makes different connections, neural connections, and you see opportunities and you filter in new possibilities, and you start allowing things to come to you which you never in the past would have said yes to. So the exercise that I'm referring to is what I call the positive intent, and you can, it's a very easy thing to do. And so what you can do, you can just write on the top of your page. I take a normal A4 page and just turn it sideways, landscape format, and I write down, what is your positive intent? And then on the left side, what are the real practical positive outcomes that you want? And then on the right side, what are those emotions that you will experience when this really starts happening to you? And then what driving attitudes do you need to make that true? And then in the last place, what values will actually motivate, will carry, will support that kind of mindset? Because it has to align with your deeper value system that you have. And I'm not talking about values like integrity and honesty and respect. Those things are all important, but I'm talking about operating values that you operate from in your everyday life, the way that you cope with life. So I took this on myself, and what I'm going to show you is definitely not perfect, but I'll just show you how my positive intent actually looked. So my positive intent, firstly, I said, I would like to have a full emotional recovery after my cardiac surgery. In other words, I would like to be happy. As simple as that. Happiness. I could have actually just written there happiness. At that stage, I was complicating it a bit. But you can write one word there. What is it that you want to see in a few months' time from here, emotionally in your life? Of course, you can do the same exercise for your physical condition. You can do it for your family situation, for your financial situation. But what is it that you want to see for your own emotional life? I just want to warn you a bit here. Don't be stupid. We can be over crazy. Sometimes it's good to be crazy, but we can be over crazy and put stupid stuff there. I want to be the richest person in the world. Don't do that. But put there what you sense is really meant for you. I sense that God wants me to be happy, to have a full emotional recovery, not to be a broken person after this process. So this is what I wrote. Now, I wish actually I wrote happiness there. But then on the left side, I wrote things like healthy relationships. I want to be strong enough for a full productive day at work. I want physical health, wellness. I thought that's a part of what I want also. And then having more fun. And I would like to live my life far more from the inside out, because I allowed a lot of negativity to determine my internal wellness. So I just saw this. And then I said, what will be the positive emotions that I will have? And the positive emotions will be things like a sense of gratefulness and love and friendliness and hopefulness and optimism and clarity, not confusion, and then calmness and courage and confidence. That's what I saw with. If I can have those emotions, it will be so great. And then I asked myself, okay, so what kind of attitude do I need if I want to welcome that kind of outcomes in my life, but both practical and emotional outcomes? And I said, okay, I need to be hopeful, I need to be courageous, and I need to be a team player. Hopeful in the sense that I am expecting a better life, courageous, that I am resilient and I'm solution focused, and then a team player, that I will trust people that are wanting to help me. I will be collaborative. And then lastly, I wrote down my value system. Walking with God, appreciating life, and being a loving person, loving myself and loving others. So that was my positive intent exercise that I did for myself. And what you now need to do, if you write these things, you can put pictures there. If you want to, some people do a real vision board with this, and you say, this is the kind of person, this is the kind of life that I will live in the future, this is the kind of person that I will be. And you just allow yourself to see that and to feel that, and even walk in that. Sometimes you have to get up and say, this is my life. I'm saying yes to this. And friends, we go through all these wobbles. One day you feel irritated or even angry or depressed, or you feel anxious. And we have all kinds of emotions, but if we see where we are taking ourselves towards, we start dreaming that kind of life. We tell ourselves, listen, I will get through this. I will do all my physical exercises. I will go through my rehab. I will drink my medication. I will do what I need to do from my side. But I also envision a happier me on the other side of this recovery process. And I'm allowing myself to experience some of those good emotions even now. And I celebrate every time I have a great day. So I would like to encourage you, at the end of your day, just ask yourself, how am I doing? What are those good emotions did I really experience during this past day? And then also ask yourself, what am I happy about? What do I celebrate about? What am I grateful for? What did I achieve? What did I do that was actually something great? And what am I really grateful in my life? Like just the privilege to be able to eat again and to help somebody, or doing a minor task. Just be grateful and thankful and joyful about those things that you can do. So see the future and envision the future and open up yourself. What you need to do is to put this somewhere. In my study, I have a big flip chart paper on my wall. Looks very ugly, but it's there. This is my dream. This is who I want to be. This is how I want to be. and I'm looking at it ever so often. And you know, so you should be looking at that at least twice a day, in the morning and late afternoon or evening, and you know, allow those emotions and those outcomes actually to come into your life and walk into that, and see your future, and allow the future to come to you even right now. And the more and more you see that, the more and more you'll see that that kind of future will become a reality in your life right now. Life is never perfect. Life is always, on earth, life will always be imperfect. But in the midst of all the imperfectness, of all the brokenness, and all the struggle, we can have so much joy. Joy isn't something that's because of perfect circumstances. We cannot all live in a wonderful paradise reality on somewhere in an island. Some of us can perhaps, but most of us cannot. And so we face challenges and all those things. But amidst of all those challenges, we can be truly happy. And when we are happy, grateful, peaceful, courageous people, we can live life to the full in spite of the challenges that we have to face. And then we can make plans and be solution focused and overcome some of those challenges one by one. And when we do, we can celebrate our victories, and we can allow ourselves to be happy people that also share our happiness and our joy with other people. That we can, in the midst of this very dark and difficult situation, allow light to come back into our lives, because energy that we have in us is actually light. And we can be light and shine our light and bring light to this world around us, and be part of solutions and not part of problems. May these things make sense to you, and may you find your own way how to make sense of it, and speak to yourself and change your internal narrative about your present, but also about the future, and say yes, all life has to offer you. Lots of blessings. Thank you for persevering and going through this whole process. May you really reach out to what life can be, and get from here to there, and allow others to pull you up if you need to, and then also look back and pull some others up towards the level that you are. Let's share our lessons. There are many more lessons. You can go and read books. You can ask for help. You can go for counseling. Please do. Ask for help, from people all around you. There are so many sources of help. Pray when you need to. Meditate. Take yourself through that process, and just enjoy this journey when you can, and persevere when you have to. All of the best. Go well. May you have more health and happiness in your life. Blessings. Bye.